Okay, today this is going to be a different topic. This is going to be Microsoft SQL Server 2005, and I am going to show you how to use the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, this is a brief discussion. SQL Server Management Studio is a very vast topic to be talking about. Okay, I'll just go through the basics, and that is how we are going to work with it. Okay, just I actually started a Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and there it is. This is server name it's showing me, and it's showing 11. Authentication is window authentication. You can have mixed authentication also if you want, but most of the people actually nowadays used. You can have a SQL Server authentication or window authentication or mixed authentication. Okay, depending upon what you want. Okay, this is the username, the administrator, because I have actually logged in as administrator. The password is already actually selected. Okay, because it is a window authentication. Okay, and the thing is that the password is already actually given when I have logged in into my server. Okay, I'm going to say connect, and there we are into the database. Okay, now it shows the green arrow on the top. It says that the database has been actually, the server is on, and it will list the database that is there. Okay, now it has listed the database. Okay, there is a SQL Server agent that is disabled. We are not going to discuss that thing right now. Okay, what I'm going to show it to you what the databases are. Okay, now let's see. Okay, this is a new, if you click here, it is a new, it will stand up with a new query. I will not go into detail here right now. This is the database engine query, and these are other things that are not related right now. Okay, let's start with the database first. Okay, this is database. Okay, it shows a system database snapshots, and other databases. What is system database? System database is a database that the Microsoft SQL service uses for the actually creating other databases and storing the system details. Okay, it is mostly related to the database that you are creating and the other database that Microsoft has created in under the SQL server. Okay, and there's an let's go into it. Okay, there's a master database and there's a model database. Master database is for the system database. Model database is a database that has actually from where you, whenever you create a new database, it will actually it's copied from that. Any changes if you want to make in all the database, make it in the model database. MSDB database is a system database again. It is actually used for actually recording a database backups. And there is a TempDB. Okay, TempDB is the database that actually Microsoft SQL Server uses it for all the temporary activity, like when you are creating very big indexes and other things. Okay, and you are sorting, creating indexes, and whatever the details it wants to do in the temporary database is do in TempDB. Okay, you can always create a TempDB on a different disk. Usually people could always create a TempDB on a different database, different disk, because if you are going to do a lot of sorting, lot of indexing, okay, lot of selecting, it's better to have it on a different disk, because the thing is it does not actually defragment your hard disk, and it keeps your database good. Okay, now what's database snapshot? A database snapshot is just a copy of your database. Okay, the thing is that when you create a database snapshot, suppose if you create a database snapshot today, okay, what will happen? It is not showing up any database snapshot because there aren't any. Okay, right now. So what is the database snapshot is? Suppose if you wanted to create select some record, okay, and keep it, okay, and if you create a snapshot, so what it will do, it will take the image of that database and actually copy it in a different database, and it will be created as snapshot. What is the difference between a database and a database snapshot? What happens is the database, it keeps on updating, while a snapshot would remain in the same static state. The day you created the snapshot, the time you created, from there onwards it would remain the same as it is. Okay, that's why it's known as snapshot. Okay, if you want to upgrade, you can delete that snapshot, create a new snapshot, or do whatever the process is. Okay, now let's go to the advanced other database that are user database. Okay, this adventure works actually comes with the Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, now let's see what it has. First, it has shows the database diagrams. Okay, it is expanding. So it asks me whether you want to create a new database diagram. Right now I'm not going to show you how to do it, but usually you want to, if you have multiple database, and if you have many multiple tables, and if you want to see how they are related to each other by the primary key and the foreign key, you can actually create a diagram and see how they are related to each other before writing an SQL before. Okay, I'm not going to say no. Okay, here it is the tables. The tables says there are a lot of tables. Then there is a DBO, there is a DBO, database owner. Then there is a human resource, persons, productions. What used to happen was that till SQL Server 2000, all the tables used to belong to DBO, database owner. However, this thing did not work correctly, so they have created now everything. This is actually a schema name. Okay, when you are creating a database, you always create it under the schema with the schema. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now let's go a little bit further. Now, what is this schema? Suppose if your company has a many department, like a company may have a human resource department, okay, that are dealing with this thing, peoples and their salaries and etc. Okay, and there may be other production department, and there may be other department that may be related to sales or marketing. Okay, so they will all each form a schema. Okay, under each schema there would be a different tables. Certain tables would be common to each one of them, and they would be related with the primary key, foreign key. Okay, and this is how the database is created. Okay, it's a complex process creating a database, and it is a small database is still easier thing. Okay, it requires a lot of actually addition, subtraction, and actually normalization of the database has to take place. You have to add tables, you have to have a primary key, you have to have a foreign key. Okay, what indexes, what type of indexes you would be needing, all that things that goes into creating the database. Okay, what types of column would be there in this table, and what type of column would be there in the other tables. Then there are views. Okay, now what is a view? Now, why have a view when you already have a tables? Views are nothing but an SQL statement, okay, which allows the person to select view a certain data from a different table. And why would you have a view when you already have a table? Okay, you could use the select SQL statement. The thing is that it makes the job easier. Okay, if there was a certain person requiring a certain type of data and a certain field only, you create a view for that person, and that person always selects it from the view, and he gets exactly what he wants. The other thing is that you do not want all the data to be shown to every person in the organization. So you create a view with the different tables, and you only give the permission to the related view to a person. So only a person can see that data only that is related to him, and that he should be or she should be seeing. Okay, now let's go to a little bit further. Synonyms. Okay, this is nothing but actually, suppose if you had a very big name of the table and you wanted a different name to be actually representing it, it's just like a pointer towards the name, just like a nickname or something you have with yourself. You may also be having a nickname in your home. Okay, it's just another name for the same table, same view. Okay, you can have it for different objects. Okay, nothing different, just a different name. Okay, just trying to hide the original name, so that a person cannot figure out where the data is coming from. Okay, now the programmability. Okay, now there is stored procedure, functions, database triggers, assemblies, types, rules, defaults. Okay, what is stored procedure? Stored procedure is nothing but an SQL code that is written, okay, and stored as a script. Okay, and instead of writing every time the same SQL again you run the stored procedure. It's just a small program of the SQL that you can use it to again and again, so that, and it gives you the same result or different result depending upon the parameters. Okay, function is also very similar to the stored procedure. The only thing is that function returns a value, the stored procedure won't return a value. Let's go to the database triggers. The database triggers are used in the database. Suppose if you wanted to modify, add a record to a table, delete a record, or update a record in the table. Okay, so there are certain things that the other tables may get affected with your addition, deletion, updation. Okay, So these triggers that may help to prevent you from doing some addition, deletion, updation, or may actually update the other tables also, or may delete from the other tables also. Okay, now there is a types. Okay, type is nothing but a similar what type of you are using it for the database field. It's another, actually, if you wanted to create a type, okay, suppose there was a first name that was existing and you wanted to use it in the string 25 characters. Okay, the barrier 25 characters. Okay, now suppose this f name was in many tables, was coming up when the employee, sales, and etc. Okay, you can create a type using f name type. Okay, and actually create it as a string varchar 15 or 25, whatever you want, and actually it creates a new type and you can assign the same type to every table. Rules are similar to the constraint. If you know what, suppose if you want the person to be entering data that is related to only male or female, M or F, or you wanted to create it under the range, you can create a rules. Okay, usually nowadays people don't create rules, they usually use constant, because constants are much more faster, but you still can create because this option is available to you. Default is something, okay, when you want to create a table and you have a field and you want that field to be always, suppose if you are entering a data and there was a date field and you are going to take it as a default as today's date, you can put as a default as a today's date and create a default. Okay, that way it can be only explained to you when I am showing it to you in the details, otherwise you are not going to be able to understand what exactly it means. There is service broker, storage, securities, all those things are more technical. Okay, let's go and see what is inside a table. Okay, to conclude this part, okay, I will show you how to actually, let's go to the pubs and I will show you what the table exactly contains, what the table name, the field name, the indexes, the views. Okay, here is the table. Okay, now let's go to the DBO. DBO is the, again, the schema that was used to come into 2000, SQL 2000. Okay, database owner, stands for database owners. Okay, this is the column for the table DBO authors. Okay, it's showing you AU number, it's also showing you the field not null. Okay, not null means it cannot be empty. Okay, and there's a AU ID primary key at the top that shows you that there's a primary key. Okay, and then if you click the key, then again it shows you the name of the primary key. Okay, then there are constants. Again, I told you there are many, 4 to 5 types of constants. Okay, primary key constant, foreign key constants. Okay, like that. And then there are triggers. Again, here stated here, indexes. Okay, and the same thing, as you see, there may be index like a primary key index and a foreign key index, and there is a clustered index and not clustered. You can only have one clustered index, and you can have as many as non-clustered index you want. Statistics is not much to be talked about here. Okay, that's it.